search parameters that I'm currently using.
We are streaming. Let's see. YouTube should tell us in a moment that we are live. There it is. Starting. Stream health is green. We're in the green. What's up, everybody? And we are live. Let's see here. Let's tweet this thing out. All right. Twitter. PTM 95 is what we're on. With @_Austin Hill. There we go. Tweet that out. Okay. And so in a moment, we'll have some folks joining us. Ashley Stang, what's up, Ashley? And Brent Jones, look who we got. We got Austin Hill, y'all. Awesome, we haven't started the show officially yet. This is sort of the pre-show stream to everybody who jumps on. And here in
VHT.
A couple minutes. VHT, I had the V. VHT, okay.
Yep, VHT.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
That's what it is. I had it on my tongue. I just couldn't figure out what it was.
I had the V, but if you'd put a gun against my head, I'd have said, just go ahead and shoot me.
Yep.
Mick Rose, what's up, buddy?
And there's a brand associated with it, PJ1 Track Bite.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to get my throat cleared here.
It's all good, Mr. Brent. It's all good. Thank you for joining this week. We will be going, we'll start, let's see, it's 9:01. How about we start at 9:03? So we got 2 minutes. Does that sound good, Austin?
Yeah, sounds good to me, man.
All right. Make sure I've got the right music. Yeah, that's now the right music again. We'll be talking about that in a moment.
See this thing. I did this right last time. There we go.
You got it all
figured out, all shut off my
stuff.
volume.
Yeah. We'll do a little sound check here. Rusty, Sherwin.
Sherwin.
And Austin, can you give us something?
Awesome.
That away. Sounds like awesome.
Yeah, did kind of.
That'll work. Jordan Smith. What's up, Jordan? You know what I like about YouTube now is that the comments don't disappear and then you can't see who said something or something happened. So I like.
Oh yeah, Jordan's the Smitty guy,
cool.
One of our Canadian buddies.
Lori, what's up, Lori? Excellent. All right. Well, let's see here. 9:02. What'd I say? 9:03. We're almost there. 1 minute to go.
Countdown.
Let's see. Make sure I have everything set up.
Oh, I meant to bring the hero card. So we didn't actually meet you, Austin. You just signed hero cards for us at Atlanta. But we were there. It wasn't a meet and greet per se.
Yeah, I hear you.
Meet. That was awesome. Who was it? Were you the one that had the UGA shirt on, or was that somebody else?
Yeah, I had a UGA hoodie on.
So that was the one. That was because I walked in with a Georgia Tech sweatshirt on, and I said, "Can we be friends?"
Yeah, I remember that.
All right. Yeah. Well, we might have to put that on the show here. We might have to. Let's see. Met in
not so friendly football rivalries.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
But we're not vindictive, so no worries.
No, and we're not boasting because we've lost enough to know when to put
we
our
know
tail
better.
between our legs.
Yeah, we know better.
Oh man, that's awesome.
All right, so everybody that's already on, make sure you go share. I think it's as easy as it's ever been, or just as easy from your phone. There's a button up at the top right.
Yeah, hit that
if
Twitter
you're
button.
on the PC, let me try to help you out.
There's a little Twitter button in the bottom right on the PC. You can do that.
Oh, cool.
And we'll get started. Almost there. All right. Well, here goes nothing. Let me put this back to. I'm going to put it back on us to start with and get us going. Sherwin, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Austin, you ready?
Oh, yeah, let's go, man.
All right, here we go. We're recording now. Hey, welcome, y'all! Hey! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 95 for Tuesday, April 18, 2017. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. I'm joining the PTM Podcast studio with Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Hey, man, just because NASCAR takes a week off doesn't mean we do. We're actually bringing you Dose shows this week.
Dose. You got the Dos Equis shirt on. We got the
That's
Dose
right.
shows coming on. Hey, I forgot to do something at the very top of this thing, so I'm going to just go ahead and do it. The PETM podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. Go to patreon.com/PETM. Join the What You Drinking Club for as little as $1 a month. Get your free koozie. Best part is every cent in 2017 is going to be donated to sponsoring drivers. Join the PETM posse today. Be a part of that sport that you love. And this week's show brought to you by our official sponsors at the $5 and up month level. That's Catherine Kingston, Ashley Stang, Jeffrey Whitler, Rick Hammisher, Lori Sutton, Tony Saul, Colby McClam, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Marianne Levesque, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Mick Rose, and Steve Jr. the Third.
So how about after 83 episodes of using this intro music, how we just jump right in and go, whoops.
Oh, yeah. I totally messed it up already. Yeah. So
That's funny.
But it is back to some old school music. Those of you who followed along for quite a long time, you might notice that, where'd that other song go? Well, as it turns out, our good friend over there that sent us that one,
Miss Sydney Lett.
she has some. There's some stuff going on with that song. Some exciting stuff going on with the song that she so kindly let us use for so long. And she's we have to put a little hiatus on using it for a little bit. She's working on getting us all the rights and everything, but really cool stuff going on for her there. And so y'all go follow her and see what's going on there.
Yeah. I think probably after that long intro, we probably should tell everybody about who we got on the phone.
Well, we got somebody on the phone. How about that? We want to welcome the show. He's a driver of the Young's Motorsports number 02 Ford VictoryWare.com truck in the Camping World Truck Series. And hey, fellow Georgia boy, Mr. Austin
right.
Hill. Austin, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's awesome to be on the show with you guys.
Man, that goes both ways every time. Every time we got somebody on, we're going, why did they agree to do this with this couple ragtag idiots here?
Yeah, well, so perfect timing in the mail today, Austin. We got a piece of your truck signed. We appreciate that. But the thing we appreciate,
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, honestly.
well, I tell you what we most appreciated, and Rusty noticed this before I did, is that we have certificate of authenticity number 1 of 105. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's always cool to be number 1.
Number 1. Love it. So, Austin, we start the show off the same way every time. Tell the PETM posse what you're drinking today.
Right now I just got a bottle of water, so just kind of sipping on it a little bit.
Yo, high quality H2O.
Yeah, well, I got to get
Mr.
hydrated.
That's all good. That's the most popular drink of guests on the PETM podcast.
In a landslide, really.
Yeah, by a bunch.
Yeah. So I got a couple things today. I got 3 things today.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. You know what?
A lot of booze going on over here.
I'm going to hold one up.
Yeah.
You can hold one up.
So we got this Anderson Valley out of California, Booneville, California. It's a bourbon barrel stout. That's fun. That's kind of beer we like to drink a lot of.
Yeah.
And also got an Innocent Gun. They're seasonal, aged in Irish whiskey barrels. Never had it before. Pretty tasty.
Sounds good. I'm holding a bottle of straight edge bourbon whiskey.
Yeah, so we'll normally have a bottle of bourbon that I would say is not that expensive. Today's not the case.
Today's a little expensive.
That came well, what's the word? Suggested by the operator of the store I got it from. So
okay, well, he wants that money.
Well, yeah.
Austin, you got any favorite whiskeys there or beers? What's your poison?
I just stick to the Bud Light.
The old standby, Mr. Bud Light.
Old reliable.
Yes, sir. No problem.
That's what I stick to.
Before we get any further, let's talk about the driver, the car number 95. It's PTM 95, car number 95. Sherwin, it's another skunked car. No wins in the 95 car. In the Cup Series.
These big numbers, they just don't do.
I tell you what.
Don't do. Well, I guess when we get to that 99, it might get interesting.
It'll get a little exciting there. Michael McDowell, 71 races. Darrell Waltrip, 35 races. Bob Duels, 27 in the 50s and 60s. Scott Speed, 27 races in this car. But the one that caught my eyeball was a fella named Frog Fagan.
Frog.
Oh, Frog Fagan. And how's that spelled? F-R-O-G.
Yeah, just like the
old boy's name's Frog Fagan.
amphibian.
Yeah. So he's from Toronto. He served in the Royal Canadian Army, or
Bull
Navy,
spit.
rather. Yeah, pretty cool. His first ride was a 1957 Dodge Custom Royal, and evidently he punched a bunch of holes in the muffler because he said it didn't sound good enough. And then evidently it sounded good enough after that.
I'll tell you, it was kind of cool seeing all these Canadians pop up. I
Yeah,
know
it
we got
is.
a bunch of race fans up there.
Yeah. He had one top 10 finish at the Asheville-Weaverville Speedway in 1968 in the Fireball 300, and passed away in 1993 at 53 years old, way too young.
Whoa, that's way too
Yeah,
young.
we're going to raise a glass here to Mr. Frog Fagan. Austin, you ever heard about Frog Fagan before?
I can't say I have, honestly.
I had not until doing the research for today's episode.
You and me both, Junior.
Yeah. Well, so to start the Austin story off, or the Austin whole episode off here, so we quote unquote met in Atlanta, and probably 2 minutes before we even started the episode itself, we were asking him, and we know we met in Atlanta. Austin was doing a one of those deals where they sign the hero cards, which was awesome.
Well, the
by
trucks
the way.
always do that, which is really cool about the trucks.
That was so cool to see everybody, meet everybody. I kind of walk up to everybody. I'm like, hi, thank you. This is so
Your job's cooler than mine.
Yeah, right. And I walk up to Austin, and I see that he's got a Georgia hoodie on, University of Georgia hoodie on, and I have got a Georgia Tech sweatshirt on. and I walk up to him, and I hand him my card, and I say, Can we still be friends? And so, Austin, you said you remembered that.
Yeah, I definitely remembered. I figured, we could let that slide at being at the racetrack, but if we were at the Georgia Dome or something, it'd be a different story. That's for sure.
No kidding.
That's probably fair.
Yeah. We'll keep meeting you at racetracks. How about that?
Yeah. I hear you.
Well, Austin, why don't you tell the PTM posse? Tell us your story. How you got into racing, and where you're at this point.
Man, where do I even start? Well, I started racing when I was 6 years old, but I guess the way I kind of got into racing was my dad. He just always loved watching racing, watching the races on Sunday. His favorite driver was Jeff Gordon, and when I was probably three or 4 years old, on Sundays, that was the thing that we always did together. We always just sat down, watched the races. And, I grew to be a Jeff Gordon fan, and, still to this day, even though he's not behind the wheel, he's still my favorite driver, and he's, a hero I look up to. But, I told my dad I wanted to be just like him someday. And, so we kind of threw it around a little bit. Every year I kept saying I wanted to race. So for my 6th birthday, I got a quarter midget. We started racing at the local track up in Cumming, Georgia.
Okay.
And it kind of kicked off from there. My dad, he thought it was just going to be something that we kind of did as a hobby. Father son bonding time. We thought it was just going to be a little hobby, and here we are today. I'm going to be 23 years old this Friday actually, and we're still doing it. So. Kind of worked my way up through the rankings, going to a quarter midget to a bandolero to a legend car, ran some asphalt and dirt late model races. And then after that, we got into the K&N series, and, now we're in the truck series, just trying to put it all together, trying to run a full season. It's kind of hard once you get up to the K&N and truck level to run a full season. So, that's the biggest thing right now, is just trying to go out there and compete and do the best that we can, and hopefully here in the next year or so we can run a full season and show what we really got.
Man, that's I love hearing that type of story, that grassroots thing, and it really pumps my brain up sitting here thinking about, okay, you went up to Cumming, Georgia, which, I mean, us all being from here, and you're saying you grew up in Douglasville. And Sherwin was down in Fayetteville. I was out in Snellville. We kind of got the whole perimeter of Atlanta covered there. What was some of the other racetracks around Atlanta that you were racing in around that time?
Well, once I kind of got into the bandoleros, I started running at Atlanta Motor Speedway on their little quarter mile that they have. And then At the time, they had a road course that you would race through inside the infield where all the RVs and everybody parks. So I would, me and my dad, we would race those tracks, and then we'd kind of go out to, where else would we run? We've ran at Sonoa, Georgia.
Yeah.
There you go. You did it better. You did it better the second time. Yeah. That's the funny thing about that area of town is you know instantly someone, whether they're Southern or not, whether they're actually from like South Georgia or South Atlanta, and understand it's Sonoy is the name of the town, and the highway to Sonoy is Sonoa Road.
Yeah.
It's like two different things.
Every time I do it.
I think Sherwin taught me Sonoy, because isn't your mama from there or something like that? Or
no, but that's the closest town down the road that's not in the same county.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I actually ran there when it was still asphalt in a late model. That was actually my second late model race. So, and I only got to run there one time before they turned it to dirt. So.
Wow. I actually have never seen a race there, but I know it went from dirt to asphalt to back to dirt. And that's where everybody that raced a sprint car on the south side of town, that's where their big Saturday night card was.
Yeah.
There was actually a guy in my neighborhood that ran sprint cars. I remember seeing those cars, the big winged cars, and not understanding what that was as a kid because we didn't race in our household. My dad didn't care about the race. I remember one time sitting in the driveway with him, and you can hear this noise in the background, and I believe it must have been the Indy cars. And I said, "What's that noise, Dad?" He said, "Oh, that's probably the racetrack. It's not that far away." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he just never had any interest. So it's fun to hear your story about how you grew up in it, and your dad, you and your dad on the couch. That was us and our dads watching football and baseball and basketball.
Yeah, and I wasn't no good at. Well, I was okay at basketball, but I wasn't no good at baseball or football or nothing like that.
Yeah.
We got a question on YouTube from Mr. Jordan Smith. He's asking about what was your first win ever? What was that like?
Man, my first win ever. I think it was actually it was one of the in quarter midget. I think it was like the second or third race that I ran. I know that I remember the first race that I ever ran in a quarter midget, like it was yesterday. We went out there. I'd had no idea what I was doing. All I knew is they told me that you could hold it wide open, in a quarter midget because they kind of restrict you with a restrictor plate. So you could hold it wide open. So all I knew is to hold it wide open. And I remember coming home third, my very first race ever. So that was really special. But my first win, I think it was like my second or third race. I got my first win, and at the time, I thought it was awesome and everything, but then I kind of really understood how hard it was once you get moving up the rankings, how hard it was to win a race. So I feel like now at my age now that if I was to win a race, I really take it in a lot more than I did when I was younger. I really try to enjoy the moment, try to savor every little detail that happened throughout the race. I even go back and watch the races and watch the film. And, I just take it, a lot more into consideration now, if I was to win a race nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's very interesting to me in particular. I don't want to speak for you. I would say you're probably the same thing, Rusty. You guys that are racers, it's so many times that when you first start out, that you have success right away. It's almost like somehow it's pre-programmed. Like maybe just watching races with your dad or maybe gave you some potential aptitude for a car, or maybe it's just in you as a skill set. It's interesting to hear that, because it seems like everybody we talk to that races has a similar story. It's like, well, I won the first time I got in a car, or I won the second time I got in a car, and it's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's so. You were what? You said you were like 6 years old then?
Yeah, that's when I started racing. Was 6 years old.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's incredible. And we've gone to these like the Victory Lane or what the K1 stuff around here. What's the other one's called? What's the one up in Alpharetta called? I can't remember.
Oh, Andretti. Yeah,
Andretti's and stuff.
Yeah.
And we've talked about on the podcast before how we've crashed those cars at 45 miles an hour.
It's the hardest car crash I've ever had was Rusty running into me when I got loose in a fast corner.
I T-boned him at full speed. But we're out there, and there's the kids running around. There's the moms and dads, and having fun. And I mean, we're race fans. We're there to race. We're there to be somebody, And we've been driving cars for long enough, and we've been race fans for long enough. We kind of know. I'm not saying we know what we're doing, but we kind of know better than the average person what we're doing on there. And then there's always that 11-year-old that flies by us like we're sitting damn still.
Yes.
And I think that's Mr. Austin Hill.
Probably if he was racing against us now, for sure.
Yeah. So
yeah, it definitely is. A lot harder than people think. Being able to race, and you got to arc your corners right to keep your momentum up. Even when you're, I'll go to victory lane and K1 speed and all that stuff with my buddies sometimes. Up here, because I'm living in North Carolina right now.
Okay.
And our race shop's in Mooresville, and I live in Salisbury. So me and my buddies will go out to victory lane and K1 and stuff like that sometimes. And as competitive as we are, you're looking for that 100th of a second or that 10th of a second when you're out there, you're just having fun, but at the same time you're wanting to lay down, a fast lap. So it gets really interesting, how you might back your corner up a little bit, but get in the gas a little bit sooner and run that little bit faster. So it's really neat to be able to get in a little go-kart like that and, be able to do stuff. As far as changing your line and stuff like that, and still run faster, in a little go-kart.
Yeah, I think the last time we were there, they had the top times posted, and I think Jeff Gordon, speaking of, was number one on that list.
Scott Speed was real near the top of that list, too.
Yeah, they had the driver of the number 95 car for a little while. Do you usually, at this point, just is it pretty much a cakewalk for you now?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but, whenever you get behind, especially like a little go-kart like that,
mm-hmm.
And you're just kind of playing around and stuff, it does, you'll be able to catch on a little faster than, most people will, as far as, you go out on Friday and Saturday and, you're running 175 in a truck, so when you get in a go-kart, you don't really feel like you're going that fast. So everything kind of slows down for you, and you really get to kind of visualize everything that's going on, on a go-kart track because you're going a lot slower. So it makes it a lot easier for you.
Yeah. Now I like
that makes sense.
I want to race you in a go-kart just to know. Like I want to play.
What's the difference between us and a race car driver?
Right. I want I don't want a pitcher to throw me a 95 mile an hour fastball. I'll freak out, But I do want to drive against, I want to play against the best ping pong player. You know what I mean? At some point, just
right.
All right. Is there one corner where I do something and I'm like, I got at least give me something.
Yeah, dude, one return serve.
Yeah, the one return serve. I did it.
Yeah, we'll have to get together one time when I come down to Georgia to visit my family. We'll have to get together and go out and do something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh man, Andretti course, and it's on us.
Yeah.
We will pay for the laps. It'll be a blast. We've already by the way, Jordan Smith says, awesome detailed answer. Thank you for that. And Jordan, thank you for the question. He asked about the first win. Tell us how about what you consider to be your favorite win?
My favorite win?
Yeah.
I'd probably have to say my very first win at Dover.
Okay.
And in car. Man, that, being able to go out on a track that, the big boys, Jimmy Johnson and guys like that race at, and to be able to score your first win on a big 1 mile, just fast track at somewhere like Dover is just it's so special, and I honestly, that year we were only planned to run we only ran 5 races. It was just 5 picked out chosen races that we wanted to run. Because we didn't really know if we wanted to do a full season in the K&N series or not. And, I remember the first 3 races were a big, just huge learning curve for me. just trying to figure out the cars, how much heavier they are versus like a late model or, any other car like that. The K&N cars, they're way heavier than any other car I had ever raced. So the first, 3 races or so, I'm just trying to get it figured out. And, going into the 4th race, I really felt like I was starting to get the hang of it. I still had a lot to learn. And then our last race of the year for us, since we were only doing 5 races, was Dover. And, I just remember first laps around that track, man, it was the G's and everything that track gives you is just, it's unbelievable. And that track is just such a fun track to run. And, I just remember going out there, and I remember coming in and just telling my crew guys, man, that was a blast. Just those first couple laps, it kind of caught me by surprise, honestly, it being that fast. But, we had a really good crew chief on the box that weekend. His name was Andy Santerre. And, a lot of people in the racing industry know who that is. So we had him as our crew chief for that race. And, man, we kept working on it during practice. We were a decent car. We were 5th, 6th place. And I kept telling him, if I could just get a little help, because, at Dover, it's kind of like a roller coaster almost. You kind of go over a little hill, and then it lands, and the car, when you go over the hill on entry into turn 1 and into turn 3, the front end gets really light. Well, when it gets light, you kind of don't have the steering for a split second. But when the front end lands, it kind of cuts and goes, and you're able to get back on the gas. And, I just remember I was telling Andy that, we kind of just need to figure out when the front end gets light and it lands, I need to figure out how I can just cut the car as soon as the load gets back on the front of the tires, be able to put the gas back down, because I was having to let the car roll too long and not be able to put the gas down. And I just remember we changed a few adjustments in the front end, and just like that, I mean, we were top of the board, by a good 10th or so. So going in the race, I knew that we had a shot at it. We qualified decent. We didn't qualify great. I think it was like 7th or something. And, we go out during the race, and I'm running, 2nd, 3rd for the first half of the race. And, K&N racing, you get a halfway break. So we stopped for the halfway break, and I told him I felt like the car was good. We'll make a few adjustments here and there. And then when we went back out, when I took the lead, I knew that we had the car to win. And not until probably 20 to 15 laps to go, I really thought that I had a chance to win. And about 20 laps to go, I was like, man, I really have a chance to win this thing. And I remember a caution coming out right at the end of the race, and it was a green-white checkered. And I was honestly having trouble on the restarts. I had not figured out how to restart at Dover for some reason. And I just couldn't figure out why. I kept spinning the tires, stuff like that. And the last restart, I didn't get a great restart. And going down the backstretch, I remember us going 3 wide, and I was in the middle. And all I could think was, I got to hold it wide open in 3 and 4. That's the only way I'm going to be able to clear them off of 4. And luckily enough, my car stuck. I held it wide open in 3 and 4, took the lead, and took the white flag, and came back around with the checkered. So that's just a little detailed, on my favorite win. Putting it all into detail. So I can just remember it like it was yesterday, though. That race right there, it was something special for sure.
I sat there listening to that story. Like, I don't think I blinked more than twice, just staring at my screen, just like, I love hearing the passion there. But not only that, I love hearing these specifics of the track like that, all right, going into one, and I get this visual imagery in my head, and the car's coming up, and then it bounces back down. That's something that I'm going to take away with me to the next time I see Cup cars at Dover, I mean, all these cars are going to react that way, so how are they going to react to that landing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you're watching on TV, like even me, me being a driver, watching on TV, I watched the K&N races from like a year or two before I went, and I never even expected it to be that big of a transition as when you enter the corner, the front end kind of getting really light on you and then landing really hard. You never really saw it on the TV that well. I mean, you could kind of see it, but actually being in the car and, you actually being the one going off in the
Went off
corner
a
and
ramp.
really seeing it happen and feeling it, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, it puts it into way different perspective as, you watching on TV. It makes it totally different. So, I really wasn't expecting it when I got there, but, after that first or second lap, I kind of realized, that it was kind of a roller coaster type track, and it was just, man, it's an awesome place to race, that's for sure.
I love it. Brings us to a perfect segue here. Jeffrey Whitler at Southern_Witt WITT. He mentions that he did his research here. He said not only do you have that favorite win now at Dover, you've got 2 wins at Dover and K&N, and he's wondering, what about your style just really fits at Dover? What about what you do or what you like to do or whatever? Why have you had so much success at Dover? What's the deal there? Are you the only one to figure out the ramp?
I really don't know the exact answer. I just know that the year before I went there, Corey LaJoy was behind the same exact car and chassis and everything, and he had the same crew guys that I had, and he went out there and he was able to win the race. And then I go out the very next year with the same car, the same crew guys, everything, and we went out and won that race. And we ended up, winning the race even the year after that. So we won 2 in a row. I just think it's kind of just a combination of my driving style, and, our crew guys. They just kind of figured it out. They figured out the setup there that just worked. And, when we unloaded the very first time there that I was ever there, I honestly did not know what I was doing the first couple laps, and we were still like a top 5 car, top 5 contender. And then, we kind of worked on it, like I said, and, we were able to, win that race. And then the second race, we came back with the same exact setup. We didn't change anything. And we were just as fast. We might even have been a little bit faster the second race. And, man, I really don't know. I just something about, because I've even had, pretty decent success at Bristol, and it's a concrete track as well. So I don't know if it's just something to do with the concrete racetracks, because I've had some good success at Bristol. I've never won there, but I have finished top 5, in the K&N car there, and so I don't know if it's just something a little bit different, going to Bristol and places like Dover. It being concrete, I don't know if it just makes it a little bit different or what, but yeah, both of those races though, they're one for the books for us, that's for sure.
No kidding. Your next race coming up is from what I can tell, May 19th at Charlotte. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
What are y'all doing to prepare for that? And what's it like for you? What's life like right now?
Man, we have a lot of work going on. We have a new, it's a truck that we raced last year. We ended up tearing it down and put a brand new body on it, stuff like that. We're trying to figure out the 1.5 mile stuff, honestly. Running a 1.5 mile track versus running a half-mile or a 1 mile track is totally different. As far as your wind tunnel, your what they call drag and, stuff like that, that you can really help or hurt yourself, with the body. So we ended up putting a brand new body on it, hopefully going to this 1.5 mile track, Charlotte. Hopefully it'll help us going there. But, we also got another truck that we're trying to get together. It's actually a truck that we just bought from Athenian Racing, and it's going to be our Dover truck. So we got a lot going on. We got those 2 trucks that we're having to put together, and then our Martinsville truck that we just ran at Martinsville. We kind of beat and banged a little bit there, so we're having to get the nose and tail and some of the side kind of fixed on it. So we got a lot going on. We're really busy, and I'm in the shop with those guys, Monday through Friday for the most part, and helping them out as much as I can. And I'm kind of doing the business side and working in the shop. I'll go in the shop I'll go, do the race shop every day. And, that in Monday morning, I normally do bills and stuff like that. And then I'll come out, me and the guys will go have lunch, and, we'll get back at it, and I'll kind of work in the race shop for the rest of the week. So that's kind of what I do on a weekly basis. So, I'm just always in the shop, being around your guys that work on your truck, and they spend so much time on the trucks. It's good being able to have as good of guys as I have on my race team, and we're all buddies, and we'll go fishing and stuff like that together. But whenever it's time to work, it's time to work. So it's good to have those guys behind me.
Speaking of, in terms of hanging bodies on trucks, new trucks or old trucks or whichever, one of the things we noticed when we go to 1.5 miles is that format of a race probably requires the most attention to the body. And I think what we see when we see race trucks go by, or I guess really under caution when they're lining up ready to go, is it's pretty easy to pick out the haves and the have-nots in terms of the shape of the truck. The folks that have spent a ton of money working on aero stuff, whether it's via wind tunnel or some other method, the nose looks different. There's kind of a kidney bean shape to the truck. It's kind of got a curve to it to get some side bites so you guys can hold it wide open to the corners and stuff like that. How does that affect how you go about prepping a truck, or your team going about prepping a truck?
Yeah, so, guys like KBM and, Brad Keselowski Racing, Thor Sport, all those guys, they go to the wind tunnel a lot, like you were saying. They do a lot of aero stuff as far as, they might tweak the body here and there to help, and that's all the kind of stuff that they see in the wind tunnel. When they blow the truck, they can see, all right, well, we're losing a little bit on the right rear quarter panel, so we need to, maybe do something a little different there to try to help it. But, it does make your mindset a little bit different going into 1.5 miles versus going into like somewhere like Martinsville, where it doesn't really matter. Martinsville, when we raced Martinsville, I felt like we had a really good shot at running top 10 and even maybe contending for a top 5 or so. And we had a fast truck there. We just, it's hard to pass there, and we didn't really qualify great. But going to somewhere like Charlotte, we're hoping this truck that we just put a body on, this is going to be our best body that we've ever taken to the racetrack, we hope. Mm-hmm. Because we put a lot of effort and time in this body, and money spent to go to spend the money with the right body guy and to be able to go out there. And we're hopefully going to go to the wind tunnel as well, and that'll be the second time we've ever been to a wind tunnel. So hopefully we can learn a lot from it, and hopefully going to Charlotte, it'll help us out. We're also going to test at Charlotte before the race, and being able to go and test, that's huge right there, just being able to go and test at a racetrack that you're going to be racing soon. So when we go and test, we're going to hopefully get a lot of data from it to where it can help us going in to the Charlotte race. But, like you said, there's so much that goes into 1.5 mile, race as far as the body, because I could be out there holding it wide open, and then somebody like Christopher Bell could be out there holding it wide open, and he could be just 0.2 faster than me just because he's got the body and all that stuff kind of figured out. KBM's got that body and stuff figured out, and we don't really have it figured out yet. So, during the race, we always normally have a pretty decent truck on the 1.5 miles. We always just kind of qualify bad, and then we kind of work our way up through the field. So, you're having to do a lot more work trying to get up through the field, as far as with the body we have versus, somebody like KBM and them. They're normally up front all the time because they're staying on top of it, and we're not really able to.
So coming up, our YouTube folks here have gotten all excited. I think somebody asked a question about whether you'd be at Eldora. Somebody else in that same time frame looked up and said, yes, he'll be at Eldora. And then somebody else celebrated that you'll be at Eldora. Can you confirm or disconfirm the rumor?
Well, if we go to Eldora, I won't be the one behind the wheel.
Okay.
We are talking to a few people about maybe trying to get somebody in one of my trucks to go to Eldora, but it's not confirmed or anything. So I guess right now that the answer would be no on Eldora, but in the time coming, you never know what could happen. So we'll see there.
Is that a track that you want to go to at some point?
Man, I want to race all of them at some point.
Well, good point.
So, but Eldora would be awesome. It being it's such all the history at Eldora and it being a dirt track and stuff like that. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be a blast to go out there and run a truck around Eldora. I really do. Hopefully one day I can actually go out there and compete with those guys and run at Eldora. That would actually be really cool.
Yeah. So you had mentioned, by the way, earlier, you had said that, half your day might be spent in the shop and the other half on the business side. We got a question from Kenny Smith at USMC Kenny SGT, U.S. Marine Corps Sergeant. Do you get to work with people outside of the garage, like securing sponsorship and stuff? So what is the business side for you?
Well, the business side basically for me is, I pay all the bills, that need to be paid. So every Monday, my job pretty much is I come in, I'll see what the guys are doing or whatever. I'll go in my office and I'll fill out whatever I need to fill out bills wise and get all that sent out, make sure everybody's, stays paid. And then, I have a marketing guy that all he does every day, day in and day out, is he looks for sponsorship. He does an excellent job. We came so close so many times to landing those big sponsors and stuff, and we just hadn't came completely through. So we're still working on that side. So, as far as the office or business side of it, me and him will kind of talk a little bit on what's kind of going on, and if there's any conference calls or if there's anything he needs me to do. If we need to go to lunch with somebody, I'll go with them. But whenever I'm not doing the business side, as far as trying to find, helping my marketing guy Nick out to find some sponsorship or whatever, or if I'm not paying bills or signing, autographs and mailing those out or whatever, then, I'm in the shop with those guys, working on the race trucks. So, but yeah, that's mainly it for me. That's what I do day in and day out.
Man, it sounds like your Mondays are right out of a Garfield comic or something. The I hate Mondays sort of thing. I got to pay the bills. I got to pay the employees. I want to be up under this truck. Exactly. Recently, and Sherwin just talked about it earlier, you did this cool giveaway. Tell us about how, what was the inspiration for that, and how well it was received by the fans, and how much fun you had doing that.
Yeah, the fans, man, they really made it worthwhile. Me and Tyler were kind of throwing around, back and forth on Twitter, stuff to give away or whatever, and I know he said, I said, let's give 50 pieces of sheet metal. He said 75, and I said, all right, let's just make it 100. So, that's what we did. And it was really cool doing that. We went through on Twitter and we figured out, who all was eligible for the first 100 retweets. And I think we ended up getting 300 something retweets. So, thanks to all mine and Tyler Young's fans for doing all that. That was really cool. That's the first time I've really done something that big, and it really turned out really well. I didn't know how good the responses we would get, and between me and Tyler Young, we got a lot of responses from it, and it was just really cool being able to sign all those giveaways and mail them all out and stuff. It was really cool, and we'll probably be doing it again here sometime.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're very happy to have a piece of it ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Most of the time we retweet stuff like that because we want the people that follow what we're doing to get to win. So at some point we may give this piece of your truck away.
Yeah.
It's number one, dude. It's number one.
I know, it's kind of a big
gonna have
deal.
to be somebody special, right? I'm in. All right. Some fun questions. So I like this one that somebody asked us way early on. Said, have you ever forgotten anything important before a race started and had to do something about it? Do you have a story about forgetting something at the racetrack?
Yeah, actually I do.
I love, by the way, before you start, I love the reaction was, yeah.
What was Gluck? Wasn't it? Was the first time we asked that question?
Yeah, and he forgot his pants or something.
Forgot his pants or something. I don't.
Well, it was when I was younger. I was running the Legend Car series, and I was probably 13, 14 years old at the time, and I remember me and my dad were going to the racetrack, and it wasn't like we were going anywhere, like Atlanta, where it's only an hour away. We were coming all the way up to Charlotte Motor Speedway to run their quarter mile.
Okay.
And I just remember we got all the way up here to Charlotte. We, got unloaded, and we had practice on Monday and race on Tuesday. And I just remember on Monday, before practice started, I go to get ready, and I'm like, man, I'm missing my helmet and my Hans.
Uh-oh.
And I knew that I had it. I could have swore that it was in my race bag. And I looked all over the place, couldn't find it. Luckily enough, I was able to borrow somebody else's helmet and Hans for that weekend. But I think that might have been the last time that I forgot a helmet and a Hans going to the racetrack. I'm normally pretty good about having all my equipment with me, and that was one of the times that I didn't have it. And luckily enough, I had some great friends that were there that could help me out and bail me out. And they had an extra one on them.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's any place on this green earth that you would tell me, all right, you forgot your helmet and Hans device, where would you like to be? I say Charlotte.
Yeah.
At least there was that.
There was probably some people around that could help out.
Yeah, yeah.
We were actually debating on if we needed to go buy a helmet and Hans just for the day, and see if we could return it afterwards. So.
I think the local Walmart there in Charlotte sells helmets and Hans, right?
Surely
I mean,
do,
shoot, there's enough racers. It's tax day today. Did you do your taxes yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I did mine yesterday.
I did mine yesterday also. Oops. No, I owed money this year. That's maybe a good
part of it.
Yeah, it was. Owed money, and I was like, I ain't paying them nothing until.
I think I got the smallest refund
day.
I've gotten in a decade.
Good for you. At least getting something.
Whatever that means, I don't know.
Oh, man.
I don't own a house, so I don't get to make all those
man.
interesting deductions.
Oh, right. Yeah, no kidding. So, so we can't really tear it down this week. We usually do the tearing it down segment for last week, but last week nothing happened, and so we're going to gas it up for this week. There's that. Gassing it up. We're going to Bristol. Bristol, baby. Sherwin?
It's Bristol, baby.
It is Bristol, baby. Austin.
We've never been in the spring, so that's new.
True. Austin, tell us about Bristol.
Bristol, it's just one of those tracks, man, that you can never really get a breath. You're constantly you're trying to breathe, but you can't really breathe. It's just so fast, and you're turning such fast laps, and it's kind of hard. You honestly get lost on the racetrack. You get lost as to if you're in turns 1 and 2 or if you're in turns 3 and 4, especially after you make 50, 60 laps consecutive, during a green flag run or something. You'll kind of get lost on the racetrack. So, man, that track, stuff happens really fast. It's probably one of the tracks that stuff happens faster than others. Somebody might wreck going into turn 1 and you're going into turn 3 and you feel like you have plenty of time to slow down. but by the time the spotter relays to you that they're wrecking in turn 1 and you're into turn 3, you're already back into turn 1. So, a lot goes on at Bristol. That's why you see a lot of, bigger wrecks at that track, because when stuff happens, it happens so fast and you got to react so fast. But the characteristic of that track is unlike any other. It's just, the way that you can run bottom, middle, or the top side. And I know the top groove has kind of been the dominant side, here the last few years. But, like on restarts and stuff, you can still make the bottom work pretty decent. So it's one of those races that and tracks that, even if you're in the bottom lane or the top lane, as long as you have a good truck, you can still make stuff work. And that's one thing that I like about that track is you can kind of move your line around and find where your truck does good at and where it doesn't.
So on the pre-show, and once again, the perspective that I love there with the hearing from a driver about, like, I mixed up on which ones was 1 and 2 and which one's 3 and 4, having just run around, and that makes total sense. Even playing a video game, it'd be hard to deal with. But hearing from a driver. So in the pre-show here, we sat and we actually talked back and forth about what we call putting the boogers back down on the track, which is that it took us like Sherwin, 6 or 7 minutes to figure out what the name of that stuff was called.
Yeah, I was like 6 different Google searches to hit the right combination, but VHT is the compound. It's very commonly used in drag racing. Okay. And so it's something they've put down. Looks like they put down about 3 foot of it, where they put 18 inches last year, so they doubled up on it. And it's really cool if you're running the bottom for a while, but you can't get out of that groove, or for a couple laps, your tire's going to be really greasy. So I'm curious. I don't think you've had a chance to race on that stuff yet, Austin. So I'm curious what your perspective is as a fan or as a prospective racer, because it's probably going to be there in August when you guys go back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, actually, I after all that, we were talking about it on the pre-show before we went live. I kind of got to thinking about it. And we actually did run on it last year. I was able to run on it. I do remember now.
Yeah.
And when we did, man, I'm telling you, now that I thought about it, if you put your left sides on that VHT, you had so much grip, it was unbelievable. But as soon as you could literally miss your entry by a foot, and it would mess up your whole corner, and you would lose so much speed that lap. So it's going to be interesting going back there, them doing that again this year. It's going to be very interesting to see, because it kind of went away throughout our race, and you kind of started seeing trucks kind of move around, and they wasn't really running the bottom as much as they were at the beginning of the race. So it's going to be interesting. But I do remember last year, now thinking about it, you had just unbelievable grip. I mean, it was amazing how much grip you would have. But like I said, as soon as you would get off that grip, you would lose all your grip. Your front end and rear would just lose so much grip. So there's definitely was last year a fine line between getting it right and missing your corner.
10-4.
The boogers, man.
The boogers.
Yeah.
I think his fans were excited about it.
Yeah. We got a question from Mick Rose at GoDucks.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, one of the reasons why we call them boogers is because, like, one of the things in the South that you've probably heard for is slicker than snot.
Yeah. But
yet it's sticky, like a booger. So that's why I think that's a funny way to call it.
That is the joke.
That is the joke.
Mick Rose at GoDucks at GoDucks42_Mick. Interesting question here. Do you think with the stages, because you're talking about grip here, and of course we're talking about cup at this point now, but do you think with the stages, it's now making it more possible for multiple tire compounds? Tell us what you think about stage racing and how that might relate to tire compound and grip and stuff.
I think the stage racing has really been cool this year. Because each stage somebody will win that stage and they get all these bonus points if you're in the top 10 and stuff like that. So, like for us personally, us only doing a partial schedule, it doesn't make any difference to us if it was to go out there and win the stage race, because it doesn't help us any. Because all we're trying to do is go out there and win the race and finish the best we can. But speaking for others that are actually in the points standing and trying to go out there and get as much points as they can each race, I think the stage thing is really cool because. I feel like I felt like this year, me watching the races on TV that I've watched, you kind of see when it gets down to the last, few laps, you really see people trying really hard to get in that last 10th place spot, so they can get at least that 1 or 2 bonus points going into, a championship race. And I think going into somewhere like Bristol, it's really going to, play a big part, as the race unfolds, being, do you want a short pit or do you want to stay out and try to stay in the top 10 and get, all the points you can. But I do remember like last year with that VHT that was down, your tire wear really didn't fall off a whole lot. So you were actually able to stay out there on your tires a lot longer than any other race that you would be able to. And being able to stay out there on older tires, you might be able to gamble, at the end of each stage and stay out with older tires and maybe not even pit when the caution comes out if you don't want to maybe, especially like at the end of the race, trying to win it, just staying out. As long as that VHT is down there, you should have enough grip to be able to stay out front as long as you get a good restart. So I think as far as like the tire wear and stuff like that, I really think that it's going to play a big part into, people pitting or not pitting if that VHT stays on the track good.
That's a great perspective.
Yeah. That's and that's cool to hear. That VHT stuff from before, with missing it by a foot, and you're all over the place. And then if you're in it, you're in it. I didn't comment on that before. That was just something I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Well, they talked about that last year. It is something about the way the VHT operates at a different temperature in relationship with the tire than the concrete does. So it takes a minute. You kind of have to scrub, like a film of it will get on your tire, and then you have to scrub it back off before the truck or the car will behave the way you expect it to. So that's an interesting dynamic of bringing the bottom line back in. One of the things I would say, though, that I had a big belly laugh about a couple of weeks ago was somebody posted an old video from the 80s of like the closing 20-something laps, great battle with 3 cars at Bristol. You know which line they were running?
Which line?
The high line. It's like, so what is, I don't want you to get into a dissertation on this, Austin, but it's always funny to me when we talk about we want the old Bristol back. Well, the old Bristol in the 80s was running the high line. But now we want the low line back, so that's fine too.
Yeah, I hear you. I just think that somewhere like Bristol, the way the characteristics of the track is, I want to be able to run all 3 lines, and be able to move around, because you want to be able to pass. And when they were running the very, very top line, and that was the only line you had, I know when I ran the K&N series, the 2 times I ran Bristol with the K&N car, midway through the race, everybody would be right up against the wall, kind of on the cushion, and it made it hard to pass. It really did. So I think what they're doing, bringing in that VHT and trying to get in the low line, it'll be a good thing. But hopefully it doesn't hurt your outside or your middle lane. Hopefully you can still run side by side for, 10 or so laps and have just good hard racing. That's what I want to see.
Absolutely.
Yep, us too.
Yep. Moving on Sherwin, Matt Kenseth has a joint presser with JGR tomorrow.
And Twitter lost their mind.
At the Hall of Fame. I wrote on the show notes, Twitter is out for blood, evidently. Everybody.
Well, finally some levity was brought to the table by Gluck at around, 1 o'clock or so, lunchtime or so, saying, I don't know what it is, but it's not him retiring.
Yeah. So,
which is funny because I kind of stirred up the pot a little bit, which I like to do. To get a little more attention for maybe the show tonight or whatever it is that we're doing. I don't poke the bear too hard anymore, but just kind of needle him a little bit about, I didn't think it could be retirement, especially with it being at the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Right. Where last year they announced their car for
it most likely is the Darlington car.
For the Darlington throwback. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you see any of that, Austin? And if you did, what did you think about it?
Actually, I really didn't see any of it, to be honest with you. I was kind of busy, so I didn't really see any of it. So yeah, I mean, I really hadn't until y'all talking about it right now. I really wasn't even filled in with what was going on.
Well, good, because it was just really a waste of time.
It's an off week. We can't talk about any winners. We can't talk about any strategy for the last week. Next thing you know, boom, old Kenseth's gonna have a press conference. Oh, it must be retired. I mean, we got to throw blood into the ring. I mean, this is out for blood and necks and everything else.
Well, we got our crazy segment coming up, but I wanted you to give a chance. And we're going to give you another chance to plug what it is you're doing coming up. But your marketing guy, your guy that I've been communicating with, Nick. How do you say his last name?
Muncher.
Okay, so it's really as simple as it is spelled. All right. Well, we wanted to make sure he got some airtime because he did a great job connecting with me and getting us set up so we could talk to you. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he always does a good job. We can't fill his head too big, but he does a pretty good job.
Yeah, pretty good. We'll call it, you know what? Pretty good job, Nick.
Pretty good
job.
Yeah, we'll dial down the helium to about a half a pound. Don't blow that head up too big.
Sherwin, the PTM mailbag had this is the first time I've said those two words in a row before.
It struck twice. We talked about
crap.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. We got from Austin Hill the piece there.
We showed that earlier.
We got some stickers from
our buddies
Yonkers,
up in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yonkers Motorsports. They left they didn't leave the ARCA Truck Series. The ARCA Truck Series left everybody else
to exist.
They're running super mods, and so yeah, we got some really neat little stickers here.
Not just neat; these are heavy duty. These are real stickers
for real.
Yeah.
Power Skiff is their sponsor.
I'm excited to stick this on stuff. We got 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah,
we
may give a couple of these away. Who knows?
It brings us to Strange with Stang, Ashley J. Stang. Austin, do you know Ashley J. Stang? Crazy as that is.
Yeah, do you know Stang Racing?
I have heard of it.
Okay.
I've heard of Stang Racing, yes.
Yeah, so they're K&N East. I don't know how many races they participate in. We'll have to ask Ashley that.
She's on here right now. She's
been one of the most active ones on the YouTube feed there. But she is a very creative person that gives us a fun question every week that's usually quite silly. A lot of times it picks on me, which is fine because I deserve it.
Including this week, as it turns out.
Week.
The question is, when was... all right, I'll read the whole thing. When was the first time that you had to hold a female's purse? Did you think about saying no? Did you say no? Sherwin, is that why you don't have a girlfriend? Austin, we'll give it to you to start.
Man, I don't even remember the first time I held a girl's purse. I guess I'd say I was probably 15, 16, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was probably when I started driving. No, honestly, I don't ever think about stuff like that. It just doesn't really bother me. If a girl wants me to hold her purse, that's cool and all. I might actually show it off. Just kind of show the feminine side a little bit.
That's right. This thing's Coach, ladies. What are y'all doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Man, this is Michael Kors. What are you talking about?
That's funny.
I didn't know Rolex made.
I didn't know Rolex made a purse.
Sherwin, how about you?
Oh, I'm sure I was around 19 or 20, and as much as Ashley likes to pick on me, if you like the girl you're with, it's a pretty easy decision to just say, "Yeah, I'll hold the purse."
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, for me, and same thing. It's like, I guess I'll hold it, but you can't just hold it like just sort of like.
No, you have to hold it like a dude would hold somebody else's purse.
Or you gotta. For me, it was I gotta like swing it around to like.
Oh yeah.
To
lassoing around the head
right, kind of. That's the dude code for. Hey, I'm holding a purse and it ain't mine. Just so y'all know,
this is not my purse.
Just so that I'm not holding a purse and just sort of holding it like this is my purse and this is where my stuff's in, and I hope you like the color and all that. This is more like the, all right, boys, and everybody else looks around. They're like, that's not his purse.
I'm wearing boots and Wranglers. This is not my purse.
yeah, right. Well, Austin, that brings us to the end of it. We've had so much fun here. We're laughing, we're crying, we're get so much perspective from you. Why don't you close us out? Give us a last word. Tell everybody where they can find you, what's going on, and what to look forward to.
Yeah, you can find me at @_Austin Hill Racing on Twitter. You'll see us at Charlotte. That'll be our next one. We're planning on doing probably, I want to say 9 or 10 more races. So, look for us at those tracks. And, I really enjoyed, coming on the air with you guys. So, hopefully we can do this again. I thought it was, really cool to do this. And, like I said, hopefully soon we can all get on and have some fun again.
Hell yeah,
absolutely! It's been a blast, and we'll do a few more. But I think you might be the best person to do the pre-Georgia Tech game this year. What do you think about that?
I like it. I like it a lot. I appreciate that.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, we were joking on the internet today about how we actually like to have people come on that we don't agree with. Because it gives you a creative approach to the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go Dogs.
Well, I guess we'll allow it. That's the last time you'll ever hear Austin Hill on this radio show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Hashtag together we swarm.
Oh, man. All right, y'all. Well, y'all know where to find us. Patreon.com/PETM. Before we go, though, shout out to our newest patron, Penny Gray. Penny Gray is just joined us at the $2 a month level. She'll be getting her koozie, stickers, everything else. Thank you, Penny, for joining us.
Cool.
Patreon.com/PETM. Y'all know where to find me. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor.
And I'm Andrew Sherwin at PregameENG.
And y'all know where to find us on Twitter, too, at PTM Podcast. And we will talk to y'all next week.
Thumbs up. And I spilled ice everywhere.
Awesome. Austin, you still there?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, you're the man, buddy. Hey, that was a blast.
Fun.
That was a blast. Appreciate you. We're still live on YouTube, but
really cool.
We'll kind of do the post show here. Oh man, yeah, it was absolutely a blast. Look forward to the next time, and maybe if, especially if you're around like at Atlanta or something. I know that's more than a year off.
Hell, that's a long ways away.
But we got to hook up for something
Where
like that.
are we at next? Well, besides Bristol. So Nick said that you guys may be going up there to help with a K&N team.
Bristol, well, Nick and a couple of my other guys that I have, they are going to go up there. And I actually was supposed to go up there. And I was going to help out, just kind of be a mechanic basically and help out with those guys. But they said that they ended up getting enough people. So since it's my birthday weekend, my parents, they have a lake house at Lake Hartwell. It's kind of halfway between
Lake Hartwell.
Oh yeah,
us and their house. So we're both about 2 hours away from it. So I think we're all going to meet up there and do some bass fishing.
Oh, fantastic!
That's awesome.
That sounds like too much fun.
Yeah. I don't. So my work, Austin, and this is Sherwin, carries me up to Statesville and Moxville on a somewhat frequent basis. I don't usually have a whole lot of pre-awareness to when I need to go, but I certainly would love to look as many people up as possible. Been trying to figure out how to do that the right way. I know a lot of people are in the Mooresville area, but I'll let you know when I'm up, and if we can go grab beer or just shake hands or whatever, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I mean, like I said, all I really do is I work on the truck with those guys, and then I come home and do it all over again. So it'd be cool to, do something like that. So if y'all are ever up here, or man, I travel down to Georgia a good bit because, like I said, my family, they still live in Douglasville. So
yeah.
I'll be coming down there a good bit. Me and my dad actually, I don't know if y'all know the West Georgia Bass Club.
I don't know the West Georgia Bass Club.
Sounds like something we should learn about.
Sounds like something I ought to be interested in.
Yeah, the West Georgia Bass Club, they normally have around 100 boats that enter each tournament, and we normally do their tournaments. So I'll be coming down, a good bit to do their tournaments whenever they have them. They normally have them like once a month, so I'll be coming down there and doing that. So maybe, like I said, we can hook up and, maybe do some Andretti karting or something.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. We're into that.
Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, we won't hold you no longer. Appreciate it so much. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for having me on again, man.
Hey, once again,
thanks,
our
Austin.
pleasure.
Yep, appreciate it.
Take care, brother. Peace. And that's going to do it for us tonight.
We out.
Folks, thank you so much. We've had a blast. I hope y'all have had fun, too. And we'll see you in the next episode.
PTM Posse signing out.